Aw.
He ended up stalling. Anyway, guys, welcome back to the CN Silver Creek sub. This is the layout update for October, and it is an organized layout update instead of my usual, sorry guys, didn't have time, tried my best, yada yada. After the last one, I thought I would use the little app on my phone called Notes and start making notes to, kind of not record, but to remind myself of the things that have transpired at the club, on the club, in the club, and around the whole kit and caboodle here. So I'm going to start doing updates that aren't just, like a 48-hour work session we do. I'm going to try and kind of like other guys do it. New rolling stock, new units, operational changes, new equipment, work that had to be done. Just stuff like that, like an actual layout update. So I made a little list, and then yesterday we were up there. We worked for most of the day, but at the end of the day, I just took like a couple, I think like 2-minute clips more or less for each subject that I had written down for the month. So this stuff here is just for your viewing pleasure at the beginning. Once this little montage is over, we'll get into it, and we'll go from there. So as I've said a couple times before, this is like the grind, right? There's things that weren't done right in the beginning, and then obviously a lot of changes came along. The staging yard, CTC was a whole thing in itself, but we're almost at scenery, and a shot like this is exactly why I'm so glad that we did everything, like we went back and did it over again, because pretty soon, in the next month or so, the new year, I want to be able to stick foam in there and start making hills and topography of the land, and it's going to be so much fun and so rewarding. And currently we are on track for that. All right, so item number 1 here on the layout update, Adam and Keeper on the Tracks, Mike there, I tasked them with shoring up the backdrops on the walls here and around the main level. Make sure they're in well. Andrew was up there yesterday reinforcing some stuff so like the backdrop wouldn't push. A lot of it was done in haste. Like a lot of this was get it up, worry about a later thing. So I think last update I showed the extra level going on here. Maybe I didn't. They got that up there. Then they went and puttied it, and then they sanded it here last week. So this backdrop that's almost 80 feet long, I guess, along these 2 runs is all sanded. There's a couple little spots they have left to do, but it'll be ready for paint fairly soon here, and then they'll move on to the bottom. A lot of the bottom is in good shape. It is secured like along the main level. There's a couple spots though where stuff had to come out and go back in, but they made great progress on that. Next up is new equipment. So first up here is CN9454. This is a unit I built myself. This was it's an Athearn Genesis GP40-2 WL is the designation. It was 9430. I don't know what it was. 9433, I think, out of the box. And it was just DC, I think. No, I bought it with a Tsunami ES unit, but it was a direct board. So I gutted it, put in a decoder buddy, a 21 pin ESU chip. A scale sound speaker. Oh no, it was already in there. I got this from George at Proto Sounds. Added the power pack, and then did the full lights in it, ground lights, IC ditch lights on the front, which were a pain in the butt, but they're really cool. That was from Wallace Locomotive Works. The beacons were built for me by Tom at Motown Models. If you want beacons that are ready to install, or strobes, they're pre-wired, so he hasn't marketed them yet, but if you email him, I'm sure he will build them for you for a pretty good price. Macrail antennas on top, and smoke rocks, reflective graphics, and then I weathered it. Extra decals, try to do it as prototypical as possible. So I'm really happy with this guy. It was a lot of time to get him right, especially with mounting that strobe on the side of the bell, but And this has a horn from Proto Sound Canada. So if you, in the next 4 out of the 5 units, if you like the sounds, the horns of the bells, George at Proto Sound Canada, he sells these packs. So you can just go download them off the site and then splice them into your sound file if you're interested in that. Man, I just realized when I started talking about the backdrop, I said it was Adam and Trackside Mike. It was actually Andrew and Trackside Mike. Adam's my signal guru. Sorry, both A names. Next up is 4732. So some of you guys have probably seen this on the Facebook groups. I had Tom build me 4732 and 4709. We worked very closely on these together. Tom is an amazing modeler, and his 3D printing skills are right up there as well. So he put Canon cabs on them. The air conditioner on the walkway there, that's a Mac rail part. But Tom did design, he 3D printed the steps, the straight Canadian steps, the split air tanks, and then the ditch lights on the front and back. They're the lampshade ditch lights that are welded on top of the lift rings, which has always been a pain in the butt. So he did all that. He did an amazing job. He did these down to like every detail. It really is phenomenal. So 4732 in real life, as of the last time I drove it, which was, I don't know, a couple months ago. It's pretty clean for the most part. I'm going to take it home again, I think, and give it a couple more little dirt streaks. The lighting's not very good here on the bridge, obviously, but sweet unit. It's got all the bells and whistles. Everything else had power pack, mini, lock 5, LEDs, ground lights, yada yada, the whole kit and caboodle, scale sound speakers. So there's that one. Hey, 4791. We had this guy recently too. A couple times anyway in the last 6 months or a year. This unit was originally 47 something or other. Originally it was built by another member at our club. I showed him how to do the miniatures by Eric ditch lights and LEDs, and this was, I think, his first try at it, and he just nailed it. And then he had to liquidate some stuff, so it was still clean. So I bought it from him, and then I knocked the snow shields off it. I put the Mac rail, not a Mac rail, but that special AC unit on top, which is 3D printed by a different friend of mine. And then just did the ground lights in it, put an air dryer on it. There's a little there's some PTC stuff on top, yada yada. And then I sent it out to Rob there at Weather My Trains, because I can weather, but not the zombie zebras here are just, he's phenomenal at it. So yeah, a lot of units showed up, all kind of came to a head here in the last month. I'm not usually putting out this many units in a month, just so you guys know. Oh, and then next up, 4910. So I built this one myself. These XGMTX units are all very, very, very unique. I had to change the fuel tank on it. What was it? It was a Conrail, this one? No, this was an EMDX leaser when it started, like an old one with it didn't have any ditch lights on it. I had to change the trucks on it, had the wrong trucks. I did the full PTC box array on top. Took the nose off, painted it white, painted the pilots. It's got a black plow with reflective stripes on it. Details west ditch light housings. And then the actual decals themselves. It's not a very good shot, but there is photos all over the... Oh, there you go. Those are made by Matt at Circus City. So I sent him pictures of what I needed, and he made them up. And then I just patched out beside on the long hood where the patches would be. And he just sent me like the locomotive word and then like the number boards and stuff. So, and then the horn, I actually had to solder onto that bracket to try and make it as close as I could. And and then everything else is as per the usual. Scale sound system, speaker, power pack, mini, lock 5, decoder buddy, goes in all of them. She's a beauty though. I'm really happy with that one. And last but certainly not least, 4709. The sister to 4732, except this was in the sergeant stripes, and this is a belt pack unit, hence the strobe. I sent this out to Rob to weather. I was going to weather it myself, but I didn't realize, so Tom built all those handrails by hand, like he bent them all. because you can't find the right ones, especially the front end platforms. So I was going to try it myself because it's not terribly faded in real life. But I asked Rob if he could do it because without the handrails coming off, I don't think I had the skills. So he took it on, did just a phenomenal job on it. I'm really happy with it. And the Proto Sounds horn pack that you're going to hear on its way out, it's pretty awesome. Next up for new stuff, the Agrium cars from Scale Trains, FURX reporting marks. These are going to go in my Potash fleet. I got 3 of these. The proceeds went to support the Amarillo Railway Museum in Texas. So they were a little pricey by the time I got up here, but it went to a good cause. And I picked myself up 2 of these NKLX Trenton hoppers from the latest run. So that's new stuff on the layout. What is this thing? A 100 series train on the Silver Creek sub? What? And what is correct? So, as we're going to find out a little later on in the updates, the last update video I showed you guys, we had staging pretty much complete, right? I think we had track 1, 2, 3 in. I think it was. And then we had to complete track 4. And we weren't going to get track 5. Well, spoiler alert, we got track 5. Show it to you here in a minute. With a little extra notching out of some of the center supports and the center partition of the layout, and a little ingenuity. Mostly Adam got this done. It was all Adam. I didn't lay one piece of track for track 5. He did it all himself. He did just a fantastic job. His dad helped a little bit too, Earl, from Earl's Railroad. You should check him out. So with the advent of track 5 is obviously a very tighter radius compared to track 1, as you'll see later on. But it's going to be for the Wellington, so it's just going to hold tank cars to support that tank train that leaves from CP, traverses the whole layout, sets off the tank cars at the theoretical, whatever you want to call it, I guess, refinery that comes off of the staging, and then turns around and goes back. So the extra track that made is for a unit train, hence the 100 series train here. So once in a while during op sessions, we can fire a unit train through, and we'll change them up once every couple months. And currently the one that's sitting in the unit train track is a container train. Now, what is this thing, right? What? That's what I said when he pulled it out of the box. I was like, what is this? And Adam says, well, Wade, this is a 45-inch LG ultra-wide. I remember how you said you wanted to have the CTC panel so the whole subdivision ran east to west all in a straight line. I was like, yeah. He said, well, this will make it happen. And I was like, oh, dear. So, yeah, we didn't know he was going to get it, but it was something I wanted, and we did, so we'll just all split on it. I mean, there's only 4 of us at the club, so it's not too bad when we start breaking down the price of things. It wasn't overly expensive. I won't tell you how much it was, but it was enough. But it is sweet. So this is just the preliminary design. He still has to finalize it, but the left side at Wellington is the west end of the subdivision, and it's all of our switches, all the signals, yada, yada, yada. And on the right side is the east end of the subdivision. So just before on our CTC screen, it had to be cut in half. So the first half was on top and the second half was on the bottom. Not that it was terribly convoluted, because after you used it for a bit, you understood. But this just makes it look so much better. It kind of just gives you a better overview. And then underneath here, where you see those 3 little lines there, we create tags in JMRI for our trains that run. And you make a list. So you can attach, you just drag the icon on top of the train that's in a block, and then it just follows the tag sticks with the block that's occupied. So it's going to be pretty neat. I guess I didn't leave myself enough time here in between tidbits. All right, next up, 512 is a new job I put on. It's the auto transfer. So this is the auto port. there's going to be ramps here. It's an auto port is just a giant automobile transload, more or less, where loads go in, loads go out, cars get unloaded, they get loaded. It's kind of just like a warehouse, I guess, more or less, for cars, as far as I know. Anyway, I've never spotted an auto port, but I have seen them in my travels out on the rails. So the idea is the yard job takes autos from the yard. He goes and pulls and spots the auto port, and then he brings them back to the yard. That's one of the yard job's additional duties now. And then a road switcher or whatever power's laying around will take those auto racks that he pulled, go around the whole layout, and at the Calio switch that goes to CP, he's going to take that switch and go down CP. Now, generally, the way we did it before is the CP transfer job that leaves staging and then brings all its crap to Beaverton, then sets it all off, and lifts all the outbound and goes back there. The autos would have been mixed into that group. But I thought, well, CN and CP are always big on prioritized time freight, so why don't we make it so the autos travel dedicated service so that the auto port is fed at the same interval no matter what? There's no delays in time. There's no yada, 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 yada. So railways will do that. Our customers will want dedicated service so that they can keep their quotas going. There's no hiccups. So a train will leave, come down here, excuse me, set off as auto racks, and then lift the outbound auto racks. The idea is down here that the tracks the autos are in are like a different... They're not part of this yard. They're like just off, whatever, a couple miles away, and that's where CN and CP decided to interchange their auto-only traffic, if that makes sense. Okay, next up, signals and some signs. Come on, go down, camera. So, where the cars are sitting, where that box car is right there, that's mainline track, that's CTC. So to our side of where the signal is non-main track or yard track. So you can go wherever you want. Just don't run through a person or run through a switch or a person or run into a train. On the other side, it's CTC. So the panel that I showed you can see when your train's there on the top side of that joint. So David Liu, excuse me again, he made me up some more custom signals with the proper aspects. I made some new signs too, or repaired some old signs and put them in. Not that they're permanent, but they kind of just add little bit of realism. So this is Wellington. That is the far west end right there. I showed you in the panel, and that's heading east. So when you're leaving here up the main, that's east. And over here, same thing, is Perth, and this is the east end. So when you leave here, heading away from the camera, you're heading westbound, and that's the two ends of the subdivision. So the staging yard rebuild, or staging yard build, I guess, or addition, it added another, I don't know, probably close to 70 or 80 feet of main line. So we'll put those in here in the next week or two, and then the CTC will be done. Okay, I think we're talking about staging. Yeah, staging. So switch panels have to get attached to these still. Adam and his dad are working on those at home. We've already seen this part, but it is all in now. So where the tank cars are in the foreground, that's track 5, and I'm not sure why I'm focusing on this so much. I think I was zoomed in on the gimbal. Yeah, train tracks, cool. All right, here we go. There's a container train sitting in track 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is all in now. It's all soldered up. We have 5 tracks all the way around staging. There we go, focus. So before track 5 ended right about here, we put a switch in. And then as you're going to see here in about 1.5 feet, come on, camera. Right here. Excuse me. So we had to notch that out and just install a little extra piece there to make track 5 come around. So that was the part that was hindering us there. And now with that out of the way, the spacing is enough so that the big transformers will fit around there and not hit anything beside it, or autos for that matter, because they do come in quite a ways. But yeah, so staging itself as far as track and bench work goes is about 95% complete. Next, not this week, but the week after, Adam and I and Andrew all have holidays. and Adam's dad's going to come up too for a couple days and give us a hand. We're going to try and install the shop track for staging, which is just to the left here. If I'll pan over, I think I talked about that in the last layout update video. Anyway, yeah. What else is happening next week? The control location of Maisie is going to get shifted back about 4 feet, and then we're going to put an overpass over the center of that control location. That's one of them that go into the helix. So that'll be a little bit of a thing, but that's on the to-do list as well. We also have another signalman to drop down, which I'm going to talk about here in a minute. And then fascia. We're going to go not rip the fascia out, but go finalize it, shore it all up, add plates where they need to be, add supports where it needs to be. We're going to shave some of it down so it's more accessible on the bottom here to see staging. Some of it's going to be elongate or made taller on the top to cover some stuff up. Just finalize it. It'll be a pile of work, but it'll be nice because when that fascia is finalized, then we can start filling it in, right? With foam and yada, yada, yada and all that stuff. So we can actually start closing in the layout. So there's track 5 with the tanks in it, and it runs all the way around now. So we did get 5 tracks. Adam really didn't want to lose that 5th track, and I'm glad he persevered because it just makes operations so much better. So these tracks all hold anywhere between, I think track 1 holds 78 cars, and then I would imagine that track 1 or 5 holds 70 or 65-ish. So lots big enough for our mainline trains to pull in, drop it off, and then still big enough for the staging yard power to grab a track and shove it around and switch it without it being coming off the track or derailing or being too heavy. Card holders, I moved those down. Not that it's a big deal, but it's all the little stuff. Okay, NARC Potash cars. So lots of people are looking for these all the time, and I've been asked by North American Railcar to just add some clarity to this. So if you want NARC products, you need to go and register a porter's account with them. That's the only way you can get these cars, and they sell them directly. So just email them, go on their site, set up an account, and it doesn't cost you anything to set it up. I mean, you can order whatever you want through they supply Atlas and Atherton and Broadway Limited and everybody too, but the NARC products that they supply are their own brand, so you can't buy them anywhere but from them. So yeah, you'll see them go for high prices all the time. They're a little more expensive, but they are a quality car and they are dedicated to truly Canadian things. So if you enjoy Canadian stuff like I do, just give them an email or give them a call or go to their website at PWRS and set up an account, and they'll call you and they'll walk you through their products and they'll hook you up with all that stuff. So because I just love the Potash cars, man. They're a big part of what we have here in Canada, and especially for where I work too. So there is some new stuff coming out. There's some really exciting announcements. I can't tell you about them, but if you go sign up and talk to them, you sure can find out. So signalmen. So these are the decoders that control the signals. I think I've talked about this before. So every one of those wires is hooked up to an LED in a signal head. So every red wire is a red light, and green's a green, yellow a yellow, and the black is the common or the ground. So that's what these are. When we put our CTC in, when we started, we tried to put the signalman close, right up underneath here, underneath the light, so it would be right by the wires. Made sense, right? Until I was thinking about in the future, what if somebody catches one of these with their arm and breaks the signal off? Or it just stops working? Or a signalman craps out? Right? So when this is filled in, how easy is that going to be to access and then fix? So when we did Silver Creek West rebuild by the bridge there, 2 or 3 months ago, I was like, why don't we it sucks, but why don't we extend the signal wires and then drop them down and put them at the bottom so they're accessible? So if a signal breaks, you just unhook them from the signalman, pull them out, and then we can run them back down through. It still won't be fun, but at least it'll be doable. So all the signals on the top had to be removed, wires cut, extended each wire to run down the center partition, and then move the signalman down. So I literally had to reinstall all the signals over again. It's taken me about 4 hours per control location. I've gotten 4 of them done. I have one more to do next weekend, hopefully, or next week anyway. So you see the little green light on the board down there? That's another signalman. So now they're accessible. That's I don't know. Hopefully we won't have to ever replace them. But if we ever did, I didn't want to have to rip out the scenery, rip out the foam, cut the fascia apart. I mean, you could, but it seemed like, we've made so many mistakes in the past that I thought maybe I should just have a little foresight. And then last but not least is Dick's Building Supplies. So these buildings are just a Walters a background kit. They're just the modern concrete warehouse. I think I got 8 of these kits. So one of our members, he started building them, but then he's just been dealing with a lot of stuff at home in his personal life, and it's taken precedence, which we all understand. So he dropped them off, and then I sent them home with Adam's dad, and he's already built the next 8 sections, I think. So this is that building, and about 5 or 6 layout updates ago, I said is going to be the long building. It's going to be like almost a quarter mile to scale, and it will. So this spot in here where there is no building will all have buildings in it. No doors, though. It's going to take 8 boxcars and then a space where there isn't any doors at all. So the lumber can be unloaded in there. And then that's just one in the bay, but there's going to be 2 more here where the trucks get loaded up. So the idea is that it's a giant building supplies warehouse. So I spot cars in real life at a place like this. The building's probably pretty close to the same size in real life, actually. We pull through the building, but nonetheless, that'll be coming in here soon, the next little while too. So we have that support to move to. I think in the next update video, we're gonna move that pole that's down there and put it up here. I think in the next layout update video, I will give myself a bit more time so I don't have to try to rush, squeeze, and talk super fast to fit this in. But as always, we've made progress. I've learned, and we will continue to keep on trying to do better here. I think that's all for this one, guys. I think it's going to tail off here in a second. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers and happy modeling.